Y is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
So I'm in the doghouse a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
I texted my wife updates yesterday of what's going on with the younger and all of this. Um, and text her all the updates and then like wait a beat and then text her and go, by the way, Chuck Mangione died,
Mm-hmm.
as one should do.
Absolutely.
So she writes back, who is Chuck Mangione? And then I get very upset on behalf of flugelhorn players everywhere. Wait for it. Go out, run an errand, come back. She looks at me and goes, Hulk Hogan died. I said, yeah, I saw that. She's like, I didn't. You didn't tell me that one. And I said, Chuck Mangione has a bigger part of my life, uh, from the number of dentists' office and elevators that I've been in than Hulk Hogan ever did. And I feel like we as a society have given Chuck Mangione kind of the short shrift. And he unfortunately happened to pass the same week as other legends, your Malcolm Jamal Warners, your Ozzy Osbournes, and sure, I will include it, your Hulk Hogan's, but your Connie Francis's. You want to talk about parenthetical, you know,
Today we got Cleo Lane.
what? What was this?
I just saw it.
I don't like this.
I don't either. It's a lot. See, I feel that though the
You mean Dame Cleo Lane,
Dame Cleo Lane, yes.
right?
I feel like there is room for all of these people to get equal love and respect. And I know some of them have controversial moments in their lives.
Obviously, feels so good. Huge controversy.
Uh,
Is that what you meant?
yes. If it feels good and you don't hurt anybody,
Right.
there should be no controversy.
I was explaining to the elder yesterday. Here's how crazy, and I'm not one of a it was better back then type of people,
Hmm.
but think about it, in the 1970s, early 80s, a flugelhorn player could be such a big deal. He had records in the top 10. He performed at multiple Olympics. So every 4 years, and people are still like,
Yes.
oh my God, Chuck Mangione is here. This
Yes.
guy was huge. And
Yes.
truly, the American dream of, if you can make it here, I think really we just have to look at his career and realize that, anything is possible.
I mean, I most of my friends have felt a great loss and sadness for this loss.
Yeah, no, it does not feel so good.
It does not feel so
No,
good.
it does not.
It does not feel so
To say
good.
nothing of fun and games.
There is no fun and games in this one.
Yeah, and again, showing the children the album covers.
Yes.
A celebration of a love between a man and his flugelhorn. I mean, the 1970s were a beautiful time.
They
You could
were a beautiful
you could
time.
put that thing on a major label,
Yeah.
record company could put that out, and everyone was just like,
And
yeah.
it does evoke a feeling when you hear that.
Well, and the cover of Fun and Games, he's like in the corner, but he's midair, and you're like,
I
is
know.
he on a trampoline?
I mean, there is a lot. Like those album covers,
Are amazing.
not to mention like the loss of the great variety show, like what you sent me this
Mm,
morning of Linda
Linda Carter,
Carter.
yeah.
I
No,
mean, there is, there is a loss of that. I had this thought this morning because someone asked me if that was AI as a joke, but they knew it
which one?
wasn't,
The
obviously.
passing of Chuck Mangione?
No,
Oh.
they knew very well that it was not AI, Linda and Kiss. But I do believe that that is why AI had to be invented because we're trying to recapture the feeling
Mm.
that a variety show gave us.
Yeah, if
That
variety
like
shows didn't exist, we
what
would have to invent that. Like
right like that
AI would
what
have to
is
invent,
happening
yeah.
right now and how is this happening and what is this weirdness that
And why
is
is it not happening more often?
and why is it not happening more often?
Yeah.
But I mean that I don't know like Chuck was really adorable like as later in life.
He just loved that horn.
I mean, look at Anchorman was inspired by him, though
Yeah.
not the flugelhorn, but it is.
And like the thing is too, like you don't see like every Van Halen record wasn't a picture of Eddie Van Halen with the Frankenstrat.
It was not.
Jimi Hendrix was not every cover was a picture of him with his guitar. I'm trying to think
Right.
of it. Keith Moon, the list goes on. But
I
that
mean,
man loved his flugelhorn so much,
it went with
he
him
wouldn't put it
everywhere.
down.
No,
No.
no, it was with him at all times. I wonder what that thing was worth.
Oh
Like,
my God. That needs to, Smithsonian is where it needs to be.
where is it gonna be?
Smithsonian, not Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. God bless them. Needs to be.
No.
This is an American treasure. We need to
I mean,
protect.
feels so good where he's hugging it and smiling. Is like it makes me
Exactly.
so happy.
Yes.
And his jaunty hat. Like, don't
Oh
forget his
my.
jaunty
Oh,
hat.
he loved a good jaunty hat.
Like, and that guy probably just knew how to make out too.
Oh, you don't play a flugelhorn like that.
And not know how to like feel good.
Yeah,
Like
no, you don't write a song called "Feel So Good" and
not know what to
be
do.
nothing but thumbs. I mean, you're,
Right. Or know what to
or
do with your
if you do want
thumbs.
to be
I mean,
everything, all thumbs.
right. I mean, you got all your
Oh
like you know what to do with every apparatus.
my God.
Like, right?
Yes.
Yeah, don't knock the flugelhorn.
What do you think his
That should
makeup
be a good
music was?
question. Like, what do you, right, what would it be?
I mean, it's
Oh my
similar
God,
to
I would
like
see if we could have
what did
gotten him on
Barry
the show.
what did Barry White use for makeup music? What did
Right. I mean, that's why I always think it'd be like for today's era, like, everyone always loves Ed Sheeran, and I think it would have to be horrible to be married to Ed Sheeran because he can't
Ginger?
possibly,
Oh, that yeah,
well,
that
that,
part.
yeah, but he can't possibly say the right thing at home. Like, there's
Hmm.
just no way.
I mean, D'Angelo, that
Right,
guy's got like
same
a
thing.
steep, steep hill he's
A
got to tread it.
very steep hill.
Yeah.
But he at least has like the bod to go. Sorry, because Ed Sheeran's all like about like the
He does.
lyrics and music,
He's
and he's
certainly
funny and
changed his
witty, and he
physique
can
since Brown
play.
Sugar,
Right,
but
and he can certainly play every music instrument, so I'm sure he knows what to do behind closed
to,
doors.
for both of them
Right,
actually.
right. So,
That's
but
very true. Yeah. I mean, it's similar in a way. I think Robert Plant, that must precede you.
hmm
Where everyone like you're a golden god, whatever.
you are a golden god, but
This is Why, with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
I think I was wondering, there's always these stories about people who are in the presence of of musicians, and something happens and they kind of just basically 6 months, 8 months later, you hear hello, goodbye, for example, and you go, oh, that's what Paul was talking about. Or I said that thing and suddenly my guitar weeping is, well, my, like, did you ever have any of that where you're sitting there and you're going, oh, that's where Paul kind of like pulled lyrics from Penny Lane from or something like that.
Yeah, and I get that a lot actually, because certainly one that oobla dee oobla da is one always gets me, because I think I told you before, Luke, on the part one, that I didn't want to ask for their autographs or take their hair or do anything else like that. But I wanted my lottery win would be to watch them record and rehearse, and what you doing today? Like you normally, how are you, Luke? What you doing today? And hello, Paul. How's it going today? Oh, have you written anything at all? And he'll say, yes. He had the piano in the front room, and he went over to the piano and sort of, I don't play the piano, but he sort of went da 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 da, and I thought it was just a little plonk on the piano. I think thinking he's thinking of something to whatever he's doing. It wasn't until the album came out that I suddenly heard oobla dee oobla da, which was, woo, that was quite an interesting thing to hear, and how that developed. So yeah, that's often one. And it's often played at loads of times. You often, I'm on the cars, during the day. You can guarantee it's on somewhere along the line there.
Hmm.
So, and then the other one was, which is quite relevant, was when I first met him. Obviously, I'm there to cut his hair, not to stargaze. And I was just looking at his hair, thinking how he would have it done. And when I eventually was doing it, I noticed that he had, because everyone's got a sort of a parting, and there. See, Heidi's is there, and Luke, I can see yours, yeah,
It's
somewhere.
moving.
And that's a very important part of hairdressing. To You've got to be able to style the hair and let it fall naturally. So if you're going to go against the grain, you're not going to, it's going to look okay when you leave the salon or wherever you are, but then you've got to cope with it the following day and it's not going to work. So I was looking to see where his hair was parting, which was very, very similar to mine. Or should I say, mine was very similar to his. And I thought, oh, that's okay. So I know exactly how to do that. That's fine. And also the texture of his hair seems similar to mine. In fact, I'm not even sure he had my head of hair on him. I'm not sure. It's just, I'm sure that was,
That
anyway,
was a Cavendish wig. Sure.
yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
exactly. And he then played a little song to me again, saying that he wrote when he was 15 years old, which is another amazing thing as well. At 15 years old, where are you making up these songs? And it was when I'm 64, when I get older, losing my hair, never nears with now. Will you still leave me when you leave me when you're 64? Okay, those lyrics are so poignant. And I remember saying to him, which is something that for people who haven't got my book, is towards the end of when I met him, I said to him, Paul, at the time, there's one thing I think I can assure you, that the both of us will still have our hair when we're 64, plus, 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 plus. And I've been proved right. So I've still got my
Yes,
little
Yeah.
barnet, and he's still got his barnet.
indeed.
And so that's another song that when I hear, I smile to myself on that one. And then I can go on one more. That was the very first time I went to, maybe the second time I went to Abbey Road. After getting in there, they got two studios there, 1 and 2. And I remember going to Studio 2, sitting very quietly in the engineer's room with George Martin and the engineer. And I saw Paul with a conductor, baton, conducting an orchestra. Why would an orchestra be there? I got no idea. I was expecting to see 4 Beatles there, see an orchestra there. And they were rehearsing, and the cellos and the violins and everything was going lovely. And then I left, and I realised they were rehearsing for Day in the Life, which was
Wow.
one of my favourite
Oh
songs
my
anyway.
gosh, me
So,
too.
you know,
Of
so
course.
but all these things are quite amazing. When you hear them when I heard them anyway on the album, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. And you think to yourself, God, the construction of that, this and that. And I didn't realize at the time that that's how they do it. They do it in little sections, they rehearse probably for days and do it. And I also saw how Paul was, I always call Paul the conductor of the Beatles. He really is the leader, always was, for reasons which are quite easy to work out, especially when he moved from Liverpool to London. I think I told you he lives
Yes.
5 minutes walking distance to the studio. And the other 3 Beatles were living down in Weybridge in Surrey, which would take, on a good day, no traffic, up to 2 hours.
Right.
So if he's writing with Paul, with John, they would write, they would go through it all at the house or whatever they do. John would go home, Paul would go back, listen to probably what they've done, think about things. And then in his head, and it could be probably any time of the night or whatever, he thinks, oh, that doesn't sound right. Or I know what I'll do, I'll go around the studio. So he goes to the studio, which is round the corner from him. He must have done that 1,000,001 times. So he is doing it on tap, basically. And because he was doing it the whole time, because he's writing it, I watched how he worked, and I think people can see. A lot of people think that he was a busybody in the group, but no, I can see how that worked. He was a grafter, as we call in England. You graft away, and you see when he goes on stage, he's there. He wants to be a Beatle. John Lennon wanted to be somebody else, be Yoko. George wanted to have his own identity, and Ringo wanted to do whatever he wanted to do. He had plenty of opportunity. But you see Paul, I mean, even when they left, when he split from the Beatles, or they sort of semi-retired or did retire, he joined up with Linda, you
Yeah.
know, and Linda couldn't play a single instrument, but being a family man, he went out there. And I really, Wings, I thought it's fantastic. If the Beatles had recorded all the songs with Wings, you'll say, what a fantastic album. You know, so
Mhm.
I can see why people think, well, they should recognize that he is bloody good.
Yes, to say the least.
Yeah. Have you ever seen him on stage?
Oh my gosh, yes.
You
Yes.
can't get him off.
No,
No.
You cannot get the guy off. 3
He-
hours plus.
I know, and he can make an enormous arena or stadium feel as if you're in his living room, feel as if you're with him and he's plunking on the keyboard and telling you stories. And
But he does everything himself.
I know.
The
Yeah.
lead singer, you go and watch Led Zeppelin or any of them, they put a bit of you put the guitar solo or the drum solo or this one,
Yes,
that one. McCartney's there the whole time.
the whole
It is
time.
quite amazing. It's
I
amazing.
know. It's a,
Yeah.
unbelievable. The first time I saw him was when he did his back to the when he first came back, and I think it was when he turned 64.
Right.
And he was playing that and so excited, and it was unreal. And there was a family in front of me who had these, they were Japanese American family with these little kids who must have been 5 or 6 with their suits, and they had all the moves down. They had cardboard guitars. They knew every Beatles song. They knew every move, and it was the most amazing experience ever because you didn't know whether to watch them or him. And we had horrible seats up high, but it was, you felt as if you were right there in front of him and you were sitting in his lounge just talking to him, and just it
Yes.
was unreal. It was
Yes.
the
It's
greatest
very true.
moment.
It's true. It's very good. Very good.
It was fantastic.
And you also, getting to hang out at Abbey Road and see these things be put together in pieces. But you also were at Apple Records the afternoon of what ended up being the final concert that they ever did.
Apple, yeah, the Apple office.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
Apple record. Yeah. Yeah.
So were you on the roof, and how did you get the tip off that this might be
Yeah,
happening?
well, no, unfortunately, I wasn't on the roof. And funny enough, I just saw a film the other day called Miss Odell. Now, Miss Odell is quite an important part of that story. Number one is she came over from America, and she sort of just plonked herself down in Wigmore Street, which was the office just before Apple. And next thing I know, we were together. And she used to, I used to live in Chelsea, and she got a job with Peter Asher, who was the A&R guy there. That's Jane Asher's brother, Paul's fiance, girlfriend. And she's a very good communicator. She's a really good worker. And she ended up being George Harrison's personal assistant, who then her best friend was Patty Boyd, which was okay. So she's in with the in crowd, shall we say? Okay. And when we used to get invited out, or I would get invited out to parties, I'll give you another example. The Dave Clark Five. Okay, so Dave Clark was one of my, besides the Beatles, I used to do their hair more than anybody, all of them, the whole lot.
All five.
The whole lot of them. Really nice guys, completely different. They were pop stars, except for Mike Smith, who was absolutely brilliant. And Dave Clark lives in what I call a pop star's penthouse above a place in London, most exclusive part in London, above the Curzon Cinema, which is in Curzon Street, heart of Mayfair. And I remember walking in, and there were white fur rugs everywhere, and it was very OTT, but yeah, and Dave always looked smart and nice with everything. Anyway, he invited me to a party there, and he said, would you like to come to the party? That's fine. I said, yes, that'd be great. He said, Paul and Jane are coming. So I went, oh, right, okay, lovely. Now, who am I going to take? Who am I going to take? I can't take somebody, first of all, that I don't know. So Chris, at that very early stages, I thought Chris would be perfect to take because she knows the people there, and she won't be stargazing and sort of whatever. And it was terrific. So we went along to that party, and they did all turn up. And in fact, it was an amazing party. There was Nina Simone there.
Wow.
Amazing.
Billy Preston,
Oh,
Doris Troy,
course.
all these people. It went on to about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So she was great for me as much as I was good for her, because when
Sure.
she would get invited, she would also have a situation that, oh, I'll bring Leslie along. So that's how it was. So I had a salon, a Beatles back in the King's Road, Chelsea. And what used to happen, I used to work at the salon. And then if I got a phone call from one of the road managers, well, that time they weren't road managers, but Mal Evans was the road manager, Neil Aspinall was working his way up to management status. How they get to that position, I got no idea, because they're running a multi-million business there, and I'm not sure they knew how to run a corner shop. But anyway, they were there, and they were really nice guys. And I used to get a phone call, Leslie, can you come over? Or Derek Taylor, the professor, Leslie, come over, go over there, leave the salon, and there'll be people there like James Taylor, that I didn't even know was James Taylor. It's him, and there'd be people, the band Grapefruit. There'd always be people coming up, And Chris, on that particular day, said to me, so I used to use that, I think it was like a second hairdresser salon place. And Chris rang me up in the morning after I'd gone to work and said, come over, something's happening here. Come over, I think you'd be okay. And I'm thinking, wow, there must be some really important person that I've been asked to cut to be interesting. And I go over there, what was it, the 12th of January, I think, 12th of January, something like that, 69. And it was cold, and I turn up. Obviously, I walk in, they know me. I walk up the stairs, there's 1, 2, 3, there's four floors, and then the roof, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the roof. So you go up to the second floor, which is the press office. I go up one more floor, and there was a spiral staircase going to the roof. Oh, and Chris had said to me, oh, when you come over, I'm on the roof. That's it. Right. So that's what I'm thinking of. I've got to go and find Chris. She's on the roof. I go to the bottom of the stairs, and there was Mal Evans. And, I think you've seen pictures of Mal Evans, a big bruiser type of guy, but a gentle giant, a really lovely, lovely guy. But there was loads of wires going up, thick cables going up into the roof. There were a few speakers going up there. There was a lot of activity going up. So I sort of went, hi, Mal, how are you? He was too busy to even say anything. And I went to go up the stairs. He said, no, don't go up there. There's too many people up there. There's a lot of equipment. And I said, I'm going to see Chris. She told me she's up there. Wait till she comes down. Okay. So again, like all these music records I heard, I got no idea what's going on. So I wait downstairs on the floor. Maybe half an hour went by. And then the next thing I heard was Jojo was a girl from Tucson, Arizona. And I'm going, now you can remember, there's no phones, there's no whatever. And I'm just looking up thinking, where's that coming from? So coming from the roof. My God. Then they got into Dig a Pony. I'm thinking, oh my God, they're playing on the roof. And the roof concert lasted, 49 minutes, maybe a bit less. By that time, I'm now looking out the window overlooking Savile Row, which is quite weird because it's a very, very narrow street. And it was about lunchtime-ish. And people were walking by from their offices, walking. It's a big cut through if you want to go to a big, Regent Street. So it's a very, very busy place. And people were stopping because I'm looking up at the ceiling where it's happening. And there's people on the street looking up in the sky, what is going on? Until the police came along, because they were called, the whole place was coming to a standstill. The Savile Row was a standstill. That filtered off to Regent Street, that goes down to Piccadilly Circus. So this is all because the Beatles decided to go on the roof. It was a good publicity thing. So I was probably the thickness of a ceiling away from being on the roof. I came down, and if you look at that of the film, Chris is sitting next to Yoko. So she's sitting there, is Yoko There's Maureen, who
Mhm.
is Ringo's wife,
Hmm.
and and she's sitting just underneath the chimney there.
Mhm.
I thought that would have been a space reserved for me, but it wasn't. So unfortunately, so yeah, that's what happened at Savile Row that day. Did not again. They hadn't performed for years since what 66, August
Think so?
66,
Yeah.
Yeah.
69. Talking about 3 years later.
Mm.
I didn't know it was going to. First of all, I didn't know they were playing. And number thing is, I never knew it would ever be their last concert. So
No, of course.
you only see that when time moves on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you saw so many other moments that nobody ever saw.
Well, I wasn't alone because the people were right, but I was lucky to be in a position to be that.
True.
I don't sing. I don't play instruments. I don't come from Liverpool. I was probably one. Let me think. I think I was the only London boy that
Yeah.
was sort of hanging around there.
True.
So that's all thanks to Jane Asher. So I always give her mega credit.
It's amazing. That's fantastic.
Now,
Oh,
you mentioned cutting the hair of the Dave Clark Five. There's another group that you cut the hair of all three members as well. Um, and brothers. We've got Maurice, Barry, and
Robin.
thank you,
Robin.
Robin. I was blanking.
Yeah.
What was their hair texture like?
I'm
Because,
going to add two more people.
oh,
So the actual Bee Gees was Robin, Barry, Morris, Colin Peterson on drums, and Vince Maloney on lead guitar, who's a
Oh,
fantastic guitarist. So there were
amazing.
5 of them.
The entire group.
Entire group. And they were terrific. Vince became one of my really good friends. We used to go out for dinner together. He's a really nice guy. In fact, he's still playing music in Australia. He's
it's amazing.
you wouldn't believe what he looks like, hair down to here, but he does country music. But anyway, so there were 5 of them, and I did 4 of them. And the one I will say that I didn't do was Morris. And I think
Mm,
so. All the guys that I used to, I never sort of asked awkward questions of these guys, and none of them ever treated me as a come here, you're doing my hair type of.
right,
Right.
Which you
sort
do
of.
get at Vidal's. There was a
Of
certain
course.
lady that was my mum's favorite singer ever. Click her fingers, not at me, but
Um,
at Snyder. So a bit of a prima donna. Anyway,
Mhm.
but Robin's hair, I got to do their hair. Barry's was the first person I cut, and chauffeurs are a very good source of connection.
yeah,
I used to do the chauffeur of the Bee Gees, and he drove around in a white Rolls Royce,
of course he did.
of course. And I'll tell you a little story before I get onto that, because you just reminded me of it. From being from Sassoons to opening the hairdressing salon in the King's Road, I was out of work. And I I was told, while you're out of work, you can claim benefits, a weekly
Mhm.
benefit, because you're out of work.
Sure.
So I thought, why not? So I asked the guy who drives the Bee Gees around if he would, because he lived locally. He lived in Fulham, and my local office to collect to put myself down was in Fulham. So I used to meet him, and he used to pick me up in the Rolls Royce, and he used to take me down to the exchange.
Amazing.
And I used to say to him, please do me a favor, just wait around the corner.
Please.
Wait around the corner. I can't turn up in a white Rolls
No.
Royce going in to get to, right. So we had
It's
good fun
amazing.
with that.
Perfect.
So he introduced me to Barry, and what I used to have a dog called Ernie.
Yes,
I dedicate my
Ernie.
book to my dog. I dedicate my book to my rock and roll spaniel Ernie. That's who he is.
Yes.
And he used to come everywhere with me. Weird. He used to take me around the Paul's place. He used to take me around. Anyway, Went round to Barry's, and Barry's got this amazing Pyrenean sheepdog
Oh,
called Barnaby. Are you a Bee Gees fan, Heidi?
I'm a Beatles fan, a Bee Gees fan, an everybody
Okay.
fan.
She's a fan.
A Vidal Sassoon fan, all of
We've
it.
got a lot to talk about.
But yes, we do.
But I did something I didn't know, but the Bee Gees did a song called 1st of May.
Mhm.
Paul McCartney did a song called Martha, My Dear.
Mhm.
Martha, My Dear was his Old English sheepdog.
Mm-hmm.
And Barnaby, Barry's dog, 1st of May was his birthday. Not many people know that.
I didn't know that. Oh,
So, yeah. Anyway, my
I
dog
love that.
and me go round to a lovely place in Eaton Place, in Eaton Square.
Mhm.
And my dog and Barnaby used to blow around, and Barry used to cut Barry's hair. He had fantastic hair, Barry. He's still got
I
really
mean,
thick, fabulous hair.
gorgeous hair.
And he used to sit there and play acoustic guitar. I would go round there. I went round there one day because literally I could walk to his place from my place. I didn't go round to cut his hair. We socialised. I used to socialise a lot at his house or his apartment. And I remember going in there one day, and there was Richie Havens. Richie Havens. He was at Wood. He didn't open up at Woodstock, but I think the Who. But he was there at
He was
Woodstock.
there,
Yeah,
of
he was
course,
certainly.
And he was also part of. He was a good friend with Doris Troy, Billy Preston, and Richie Havens.
Yeah.
And they were playing acoustic guitar together, getting smashed out their heads.
Of course.
Of course. So one joins in,
Oh,
and they started playing Beatles songs.
Oh my God.
Incredible.
I mean,
Yeah, it's just amazing. Again, I never told anybody what I was doing.
No.
I never went home, another nice evening. Who can I tell? Not telling anybody what was going on.
no, you just keep it. You just keep
So
that.
he was very good. Then I got introduced to Robin,
Mhm.
and we talk about the. I always get in trouble for this because texture of hair. I think
Well,
we talked about it
that's
last
well,
night.
that's what
Yeah.
we were sort of talking about. That talk about different textures of hair in one group of a family. I mean, that gets a bit awkward in that family.
Yes. Anyway, so Robin and Morris were twins,
Mhm.
and they didn't have the same texture hair as their brother Barry.
No.
But he was really nice. They were going again. Again, these super groups or super bands go through a family problem or a problem where they don't want to talk to one another. So they
Yeah,
were
of
together,
course.
and then Barry doesn't want to be with the Bee Gees. Robin does not want to be with the Bee Gees anymore. He went off, and he lived in a place called Notting Hill Gate, which is also a nice place to live. I used to go around there, and again, he used to play me some music, but
Mhm.
I generally knew what it was, so I can actually remember it to this day. I forgot the title. It's called "Saved by the Bell,"
Mhm.
and he uses his voice. If you listen to that song, it's just really him from the throat upwards. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And I heard that for the first time, and I just went, Robin, that is absolutely terrific.
Yeah.
You would say that, Leslie, wouldn't you? It really did. But it went to number
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That's how good a judge I am.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, and Morris at the time, without me knowing, always seemed a little bit aggressive, right? How I met him, so I used to do their hair on a photo shoot, and I have a feeling it was maybe for Vogue or it could have been Harper's, one of these magazines.
Mhm.
And I didn't feel comfortable with him, and I didn't realize that he had an alcohol problem.
Mm.
He was actually an alcoholic, and sometimes alcoholics could be a bit aggressive. I can't say anything. I just didn't gel with him at all. And I had nothing really to talk to him about or gel about. I just did their hair. I was there just to do his hair, basically.
Mhm. Yeah.
But it never carried on from that particular one. And the other two, they left after a while. I don't know what happened there, but well, you do actually. Three BG brothers don't
Right.
really need to split. Well, because they would be on wages. The other three were the credit, the songwriting credits, royalties go to those three.
Right.
But they paid Colin and rents a wage, like a lot of bands that were paid, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, they were really nice to be with as well. I remember Barry then got a girlfriend who he's still married to, I think. Yes, he is still married. She was Miss Scotland. She was a model, a beauty queen from a lovely looking girl. I think she was Miss Scotland, and I think they're still married, unless
That's,
something else has happened. And he's the only one that's still around as
I
well.
know he
Yeah,
is.
which is amazing.
It's just amazing. He's the eldest too, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, quite a feat, and still has all that hair.
Yes, yeah. We talked
Ye-
about the John Lennon texture hair, did we, last time?
Yes, I
We
love
did,
that. I
yes.
love that
Right.
story.
Okay,
Well, that
that-
story is fantastic. And of course, when I was listening to your conversation, I was like, he's going to understand this. He's going to understand this as I'm listening to it unfold. He's going to get it. If he doesn't get it, I'm going to be so angry. And then you shared it. And I'm like, see, of course.
Yeah.
You talk about going home and, as some of the Gibbs and Richie Havens are just entertaining themselves just for a night, just playing Beatles songs and stuff, and going home and kind of being like, I'm just going to keep this to myself. This is sort of, I don't want to make a big deal about it, but also just for yourself, like to be part of this magical evening, not wanting to do anything to undo the next one. Did you ever write any of this stuff down of notes, thinking this might be something in the future? Because at that point,
Yeah.
the Beatles, nobody
Yeah.
thought pop groups could continue
Okay.
for
Yeah.
50
It's a
years.
good question. And you're right. I didn't write anything down. But one thing, lucky something happened to me. I was up at the Apple offices one morning with Derek Taylor, which is like a cocktail bar. You know, I mean, it was gin and tonics and all the music papers there. They used to get literally smashed out of their heads in the office there, you know, early morning. But they're there because they're waiting for a Beatle to come in. You know, they're waiting for a story. But Derek was he had to go through Derek, and I remember going in there one morning, and there were loads of sacks. I mean, there must have been at least, I don't know, in an office, there's maybe 30 sacks tied like the post office there, like Father Christmas's office. You know, all these sacks are you, Father Christmas. And I said to Derek, I said, what's all that around? And he said, oh, that's all the Beatles press. I said, what do you mean, from where? He said, from around the world. I said, well, how do you get it from Japan? How do you get it? He said, oh, there's a company called Associated Press. And what we do is we pay them and they get it for it all sounds easy now, but you know, no computers. And I thought, how do they do that? So obviously they pay someone, and that's how it works.
Yeah.
I said, that's amazing. I said, couldn't put my name down, could you? He said, yes, okay. So he put my name down. So the next thing, I didn't get loads of sacks, I promise you. But every time my name was mentioned, I got press cuttings. So I've still got it upstairs in my original scrapbook, and also to show my mum, to show off to my mum and dad at the time.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, look, mum. She said, what's going on? So I showed her that. Oh, you were in the local newspaper. Oh, you were in Sweden. Oh, so I had it all there. The John Lennon going bald, this one, that one, 100 stories. And they were telling me what I was doing. Okay. I didn't have to tell them at all.
Yeah.
Except that for Disc and Echo magazine, which is like you know, the biggest newspaper, music paper, they asked me to write a column once a week, just to say I had a little tiny column, who came into Leslie's barbershop, and that would be it. So Paul and Ringo, and Dave Clark, and the Bee Gees, and you know, whoever. That was the only information I was giving out. So I wrote all these things down. I got a scrapbook of all these things. So over the years, I have kept. If ever I've seen it, I've had people send it. Then it came into books mentioning this. So I had a lot of sort of history there that I could fall back on. And I was living in Spain at the time, and we're now moving on about I don't know, 50 years later. Yeah, maybe. And I don't ever get over a period of time of when John died or George died or an anniversary. I'll get the odd phone call or communication and say, how did you feel about that? Whatever. You know, there's just little bits and pieces. And I remember sitting there in Spain one day and thinking, do you know what? And I used to come, my girlfriend was living in London. And I was coming back and forth from London. And I didn't really know what to do for a little bit. And I went on a Beatle tour. There was somebody advertising a Beatle tour. So what I did, I just joined in. I just stood at the back and just listening to this person talk about Abbey Road, talk about Savile Road, talk about this, that, and the other. Like he was reading it from a book. And he was not the type of person that you would want to do an audio book for. You know, his
Yeah.
voice wouldn't suit an audio for anything. And I was totally getting embarrassed. And he had a crowd of about 20 people there. And he's telling this, he's saying, and there, the Beatles did the concert on top of the roof there, and down there. And I'm thinking, well, he's telling these people what happened. I can tell them what happened when I was in there.
Right.
And then he goes to Abbey Road. The Beatles used to record there, number 1 and number 2. And all the time I'm thinking, well, I could tell a bit more than that. And I've got it all written down. So I went home and I started thinking, you know what, I'm going to start my little story off how I got to do the Beatles' hair, basically, you know.
Yeah.
That's all. And that is how I started my book, which started with Sassoon, and which developed onto doing men's hair, from being a ladies to going to men's, to go through that whole journey. And I had got it all sort of, besides, I've got quite a good memory, believe it or not, at certain things, but I can certainly remember the day I walked into Vidal, how I got to Vidal, all the way through. And then I can go on to the passages where I've got it in print, just in case I'm thinking I didn't do that. And it was, that's what happened. So I do remember these things, and that's how I put it all down and everything there. So I didn't write it down at the time, but I remembered. And again, I had no one, there was no one there to challenge me. Right? And people used to, I remember being in an occasion, never forget, I was in Ibiza. Oh, I must have been about 26, 27 years old. And with a friend and a group of people. And there was a lot of girls there, I remember. And there was a guy there, nice guy there. I'd never met him before. And he's sitting there holding court, telling the world of these girls that he was a hairdresser and he cuts the Beatles' hair. Right? I'm there, I'm listening. I don't know him. I can remember sitting there listening to this guy saying, because one of the girls said, whose hair did you cut? Oh, I cut the Beatles' hair and I did this. And I'm listening and I'm going, no. So I said, excuse me, I said, whose Beatles' hair did you cut? He said, oh, John, Paul, George, Ringo. I said, really? When? He said, same time as when I did it, right? Consistently, did you do it? Because, you know, there were people at studios, TV studios, and, you know, there were people who did do their hair.
Sure.
But he said consistently. So he was the Beatles' hairdresser. I said, it's really weird, you know. I said, because actually, I cut the Beatles' hair as well. And I can't remember ever seeing you around. And he went, oh, yeah. And he made this whole big thing about, prove it. Now, it just so happens, in the villa, I've got a book, I've still got it upstairs, called The A to Z of Beatles. And from A to Z, it gives you every single person's name connected with the Beatles. And if you look under C, it says Cavendish Avenue and Leslie Cavendish.
Perfect.
So I got it. So I went upstairs very quietly, came down and said to him, you said prove it. Would you want to read that? And he then left the party.
That's amazing.
Great.
That's
the
just
only
fantastic.
time I sort of felt, oh, actually, I can prove it. So, which moved it on to a story that I could tell because I can prove it.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, I'm sure there are other people, you know, I know someone, I read somewhere that someone's sold a lock of John Lennon's hair, funny enough, in America, but she could have easily got that from a studio session.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fine. No, I haven't got a problem with that,
Mhm.
you know, but the major thing was mine was a little bit more consistent.
Right.
And because I had it down on my scrapbook was the
Yeah.
reason, you know, so I didn't have to jot these things down.
And that's the kind of thing everybody wants to have with them. Like to be at that situation where someone's claiming something and you can just very casually and quietly just say, well, I think you might be mistaken. And you mentioned these tours, which sound amazing. So I think you do 3 different ones, and I'm assuming it's just different parts of London that you kind of bring people around on.
Yes, what the tours I do.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So when I came back, I have a very good business-like wife who knows how to run a business. I'm not very good. And I said to her, look, I said, I've just gone with this guy who's given Beatle tours there. And I'm sort of going this. She just said, well, why don't you do it? Do something about it. So what I did was I went round on my own and did a record on every single Beatles sign and things and places that he wouldn't know. And I then started doing these tours, and I didn't really know what I was doing, right? Actually, because I didn't know how to even go about publicizing it. And I obviously, you know, you never know. That's why it's always good to meet people, because you never know what can happen. I
So
did
true.
get a call. There's a company still going called London Walks, which is they do from Jack the Ripper to Tower of London, the Queen's, Buckingham Palace.
Captain.
You you do that, and Beatle tours. So they asked me to do a Beatle tour, and they charge so little that I was thinking, you know, I'm not sure I really want to do that, but you know what, it could be a good experience. And I went with some people, and I suddenly somebody must have wrote something or saw something, and a big company, was a big company, one big event company found me, very exclusive company. So we're going from literally the local corner shop to Harrods, literally, you know,
Hmm.
Walmart to Harrods. That's where that was my journey. Boom. And they said, oh, we have clients from all over the world that would like to do Beatles tours. Could you give me the itinerary? So I've got all the itinerary going, and I still do it today. I've got one next week. I don't do it a lot of the time because I would actually get bored. It's a bit like
Yeah.
you asking me questions. I mean, for instance, the white Rolls Royce. I would never even thought about that until you just happened to say the Bee Gees and the connection. So when I go around to these places, I know the foundation of what it is, but my stories will come out
Sure.
something that I don't even know. Then I go, oh, that I remind me of that.
Yeah.
And so I started going around the basics, you know, Abbey Road, Savile Row, my favorite place, Trident Studios, which is where Get Back was recorded, and Bowie and everybody supply there. Then I do a Chelsea tour. So where do I go? Where do I go? I go to where my hairdresser salon was. I go to the club where John and Yoko went for the first time for the opening of the Apple Boutique. I show them restaurants or the Pheasantry where the Rocky Horror Show first started. Yeah, so all these places around Chelsea, and then and by the way, I'm not walking. They do supply a very luxury car that I do in a big Mercedes Vito.
White Rolls Royce. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Volkswagen
No.
Vito, nothing to overdo it. And you can't sit with in a Rolls Royce. I'm afraid when I don't take more than 4 people out, so I can sit in the back with them and have a little chat. And I've got a scrapbook, so I
Oh
show them
man.
all what I told you
Fantastic.
before. That all this thing, I actually tell them and show them. So we go to the I take them to the old Apple offices, the old EMI recording where Please Please Me, you know, the balcony, the famous balcony they overlooked.
Hmm.
And I've got lots of places. So I probably got locations of about 50. But I
Wow.
can't get them all in 3 hours. So I improvise. I improvise from what hotel they're staying at. So if it's in London, which is great, well, I say in London, they are in London, but there's different parts of London. So they could be in
Certainly.
the Hyde Park corner, which is a peninsula, or I could go to Claridge's, or I'm going to one in 2 weeks' time, which is over by Waterloo on the embankment, which is a strange one for someone to stay there. But anyway, I then have to work out an itinerary to work out, which I could do. It takes a little bit of work, but I enjoy it. And what I enjoy about it is that, it's a bit like if you've got what have you got, a classic car, and they all meet up once a month, and they all discuss. I use it. I always remember the MG. There's a great car, MG, right? And I see advertising, the MG meet in 3 months' time, reunion. They meet somewhere, and they all discuss the ins and outs of an MG. The people I take out, majority of them are Beatle fans. One of them in the family, or if not two.
Right.
So it'd either be the husband, the wife, the children. Often the children are really into it, which amazes me. And what's nice about it is every Beatles song, because everyone's got a Beatles song, right, will create a memory that they have. So it's either they got married, or they met for the first time, or or unfortunately maybe someone died, but there's a Beatle connection, and that's why the Beatles music is still alive to this day, and it's nice to meet people who have got that interest, and they're enjoying it as much. They ask me questions like you do. We go to Brian Epstein's house, and what was it like? And it's like having a conversation with them. That's all.
Perfect.
But we see places, we take pictures, and yeah, it's nice.
Cutting Edge, the story of the Beatles hairdresser who defined an era by Leslie Cavendish, is available from barnesandnoble.com or from his website, beatleshairdresser.com. And if that isn't enough, Leslie offers private Beatles-themed tours of London, which look amazing. For more information, you can email him at info@beatleshairdresser.com.
Why the Podcast is produced by the Professional Production Company. Please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts because we're shallow and need constant validation. For more information, you can check out our website, whythepodcast.com. And like everyone else, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Today's show was recorded and produced by Heidi Hedquist and myself from our world headquarters located on the second floor of the Professional Office Building, centrally located downtown. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Flash, we're coming home.
Nigel, is that you? Are you here, Nigel? You here, Nigel? You here, Nigel? You here, Nigel? You here?